All right, so here's the pen portion of the interview. Social Club Misfits have a new album. Everyone loves a comeback story. So we are going to break it down song by song. You guys are going to just give us little notes that people may or may not know about it, or interesting tidbits of the song. So opening the album, I Can't Fail.
Yeah. Open album. Song was produced by Grant LaPointe, Elijah, and then Dave James. One of the first songs on the album that we created. Grant sent me the beat, and within like half an hour, I had the whole song pretty much done. And then we added Fern's part, and then I just felt like it wasn't over yet. I just felt like it wasn't there. So what I did was I hit up Dave James and was like, man, what would it look like if you could add like an outro to the song? And then we had an outro. Originally, we had Chris Durso on the song. He was going to intro it, but there is another song that we have, Sunday Service, where I pitch my voice down and I'm kind of preaching. I didn't want two songs with preaching on it. So I hit up Tree Giants and Daniel. Israel is in like the Philippines, so he couldn't record. We recorded something, it just wasn't fitting. And me and Daniel worked on it, and he ended up crushing it. So Daniel Chrisman from Tree Giants. But yeah, that was like I think that was probably the third song worked on the album.
Probably top 3 of my favorite songs. Super, like the verse came to me real easy. As far as I probably rewrote it 3 times, but it always came to me. A vibe always came to me. The beat was always like super dope, super spooky, kind of like just kind of laid it out, for rap. The rap was always fun to get on that track. So that's pretty much it. It was a crazy time, but I remember writing that was a lot of fun. As a rapper, that's one of the beats that you want.
Next track is Again.
Yeah, Again. All right. That one has a story. Originally, one of the first A&R that we had was Amanda Butta P. And so I love Amanda. She's one of people who really taught me a lot about the music industry, about points, splits, all the back end stuff. So me and Fern were like, we want to hire somebody who understands Social Club and understands that we're in this weird position between CCM, Christian hip hop, and, as much as we love Christian hip hop, at the same time, like we want to be able to make music that can reach a wider audience. So that's why sometimes we go in between, but we don't want to go too far CCM. You don't want to go too far Christian hip hop. You want to be like in the middle. And so originally I wrote this song to a different beat. And what ended up happening was one of the beats that Amanda sent, the producer was like, hey, the guys that I'm with, they don't want to sell it. They want to like sell it to a bigger artist. And I was like, man, like we're assigned to a major label. We'll pay whatever it costs, but they just, I don't know what the deal was, but they just did not want to work. I think they were like, we're going to ship, someone said something, we're going to shipping it out to like Drake or something. I'm like, okay, like go for it, bro. Like, feel free. I'm not gonna debate over a beat. So I hit up like 4 producers. I hit up the guy who produced the song "It Could Be Worse" by Andy. I hit up him, AG. I hit up like 2 other producers, and I hit up Carvello. AG sent me something, and it was cool, but Carvello sent me that version, and then me and him worked together, and I added. So I wrote that chorus, and I wrote like another chorus to the Carvello song. And then I wrote another chorus to it. We ended up having all 3 choruses. And so the original chorus, like that was produced totally a cappella. Carvello added it, then I added the singing parts in the middle and the end. And then I hit up John, and I was like, man, John Keith. And I was like, man, I think you could help me. He's such a good writer to me. He's one of my favorite writers. And I hit up John, and I was like, man, what can we do? And so he literally like took my flow and made it even better. And so he wrote, he like reworded certain things, and that's the chorus that we have. And he sent me 3 versions of it within like an hour. He's just amazing. And so I cut up all the pieces I liked, and I rearranged the song a little bit. And I love that song. I think it's a great second song, just gets you hyped about it. And it also is like 3 songs in one, which I love. Like Fern's part is different than mine. The middle part, like every part of it, it's a very attention ADD song because it just keeps evolving. And so Carvello produced that with Ace Harris at Reach. Shout out to those guys. And yeah, that song. And then John Keith obviously killed that hook, made it even better.
Wow. So that's a lot of moving parts just within.
A lot. It's a lot too, because it was like everything was getting mixed. I might even have the original. I think the original one was great. It was more of like horns and like it almost sounded a little bit more like Family Ties by Keem and Kendrick, where it was like the horns like dun 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 dun. It was fire. It was great. And my whole verse was written and I recorded it on that beat. And so when I took the acapella off and I sent it to Carvello, he literally made it what it was. And we went back and forth like 2 times. And I had some notes for him and he killed it. I think working with him is like the easiest experience. He'll work. And then one thing about Carvello is that he finishes out the song. Like a real producer will finish out the entire song. They don't just sell you the beat and peace out. Like that's a beat maker. But a producer, they work with you until it's completed. He literally worked until it was completed.
Yeah, well, they always say you could be the guy who just presses the button, or you could be the guy who's like, okay, my name's on it. This is my song too.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of me. So you want it to be the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how I see production too. Like I'm not trying to get like sometimes it's like, hey, just sell the beat. But I feel like my name's on it and I have a lot to prove. Even now, like I'm still like in the beginning phases of being a producer. Some producers have been doing it for years. I've been doing it for maybe 4 years tops, and producing us and other stuff. And but one of the things I learned from Sam Ash, who is a Grammy Award winning, he produced 3 songs on the record with me. He's like, you got to finish it out to the end. You got to make sure that you are fully happy with the product. You don't want to just release something and let the artist figure it out. It's easier. Good music is when you finish it to the end and not just, good music lasts like that. I feel like when artists just record over a beat and get a mix, that's as far as you're going to get. And I think people nowadays, like our generation, like you listen to RG's album, we want more than just the beat. We want it to feel personalized and customized to artists, an artist's sound. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, speaking of sound and capturing a moment, your next track is Who That Is. So, Fern, I feel like you've got something to say about this track too. I feel like this is your era.
I mean, like when I first heard it, it was it gave off that 90s bass era, growing up in the late 90s, being in high school and stuff like that. It definitely reminded me of that. So that was easy vibes going into it. Right into it, I was already feeling it. And then like I remember hearing it off the first trip, I'm like, because of my relationship with DJ Laz, my first thought was like, I got to get him on here. That was the first thing I even thought before I even wrote anything. I'm like, I got to call him up. I know he's going to say, yeah, I might as well call him right now. So I called him, man. I locked him in. He showed love. He's like, yeah, whatever you need, my brother. So I locked him in. And so that was fun, even just, continuing to finish up the song because, knowing that he was going to be on it. And it was just going to be like a certified, cultural thing for us, just a full circle thing for me as well. So it was super fun doing that song. And just seeing him come out and just like loving everything we were doing and just heavily supporting us. And it was a vibe for us. It was a blast.
And when we had done that interview a couple of years back, where we kind of did the deep dive into your career, Fern, starting from the 90s, he was one of the ones you kind of came up with, right? When you started rapping.
Sure. He's the first guy to, he basically made me a professional rapper because my first payment was through gigs through him, even just like doing like a commercial for Starburst in like 98. Yeah, it was a campaign for Latin America. It was like one of my Spanglish things that I did.
Yeah.
So anyway, but he got me my first paycheck, and made me a professional. So I just shout out to him. I always remember him for that. But we just always stayed in touch. And it was just cool to just connect with him and just, just bring it back full circle.
Yeah, that's dope. Marty, anything on that?
Yeah, originally I produced that song with Enzo Graham. Originally it was for Andy's album. We were working on a couple last year. We're working on stuff for him. And that's actually Andy and John on the chorus as well, screaming Who That Is with me. And yeah, I think that song is one of my favorite songs. I feel like we've never gotten, usually when you do a feature with somebody, people are like so excited about it, but I've never had so many people be so excited, like locally, about a feature. Like everybody I know has been like, dude, you did a song with DJ Laz. And so it was really cool that Fern could connect those dots and make that happen because he's a legend here. And so it's just fun to have somebody it's like a full circle moment. Those are the songs that you grow up with and you hear on the radio on Power 96. And that's what we were growing up to see. So that connect those dots was really cool to make that happen. Yeah.
It's your give back to the community.
Yeah. And it's like, if you don't know who we are and like maybe you know who DJ Laz is, like you're gonna enjoy it and want to listen to it. So I have a friend of mine who does music, and we worked in corporate America back in the day, and he's like, I think he's signed to ICP's label, so he's like one of those like what they call us juggalos. Like
juggalos.
He's awesome. He's great. He's a great artist. Shout out to him. But he randomly hit me up, never hits me up about music, and was like, I can't believe you got DJ Laz. That's incredible. So it's cool to have like friends of ours locally be like, oh my gosh, DJ. And it's funny because even in my gym, people are like, this girl that she's a new coach. She's like, does anybody know who Pitbull DJ Laz is? And I was like, what the heck? Like, she didn't even know I just had a song out with them, even though one of the coaches played it. She was like, that's DJ Laz, not even knowing that I'm in boxing, but I'm the one who made the song. So it's kind of funny how like, fans who don't like Social Club or maybe just don't know who we are. I don't want to say don't like, but just don't know who we are. They know Laz, so that it all connects.
That's dope. So the track Unstoppable.
I wrote that chorus with Zach Paradise, who he did Hovey's last album. First album, Broken Heart. He also produced with Dave James Fern's solo song, Human. So that song has probably 17 different choruses on it. I worked on that song harder than any other song I've ever worked on in my life. We had massive, huge writers writing on it. We had new up and coming writers, and no one can do it. So it ended up being a freestyle that I said, and I was like, I just made that, and everyone was like, that's it. And so I remember I was FaceTiming me, Sam, Sajan, who produced the song as well. I produced on it as well. We were in this FaceTime, and I hear Zach like, dude, that works. And so Zach's freestyling it, making it happen. And that after 17 writers, we ended up getting it internally between me and Zach and Sajan. So that song is very, very special to me, at least. And I love Fern's verse on it. One of my favorite verses that he has on it.
That verse actually came from a breakthrough. During this album, I was having like a tough time. I told a couple people like just kind of it wasn't even writer's block, because I guess it wound up being writer's block, but I never had it before, and it was for a small period of time. It was like for 2 or 3 days where I couldn't see anything. I would look up for inspiration and I was just drawing blanks, man. I was literally drawing blanks. And I remember, shout out to LaRussell, but just started watching him real quick and just seeing how he was just having fun with it and just going back to the grassroots with it, literally in his backyard, in his sandals, with his feet in the grass. And I was just like, man, just sometimes we make things so complicated, and I just took it back to the basics, man. And I remember just kind of like laying on the grass, just like my back staring up at the sun and stuff like that, just like literally just like being a kid again, and like tears running down my face, think about my grandma and stuff like that. But I had just written the verse, and I was like, I was making it so tough, and I was just feeling like it was like this thing that was leaving me and I wasn't able to do it. It was like this crazy thing happening. And I just had to like really just fall back and just like realize that, I just had to trust God the same way that Social Club got here, Romans 8:28, keeping God in the center. And regardless of the good days or the bad days, that's always been the, chemistry for us. And so I had to just really dive back into that and just really delve back into that and just remind myself who I was Also Born for This too stemmed off of that as well. There was actually, it's so crazy how people be like, oh, I don't want to really do so many commercial songs, but some of them songs, they just come because that's really what's on your heart, man. That's the best way to sing them. You know what I'm saying? You want to sing them in the most massive way possible. And so shout out to CCM for, you know, placing a lot of them songs like Unstoppable. Hopefully it's going to be one of the top place songs. But yeah, it came from a place of like almost disparity and then actual victory at the same time. You hear it in my voice inflections. You could hear the octave pitch in my voice, the way I was more excited. Like you could just tell that I was just happy to have it back after feeling like it was like gone, you know, and I'm just thankful. And every time I write now, I'm like, God, what we writing today? You know what I'm saying? Like seriously, like like sometimes we get caught up and lean on our own understandings about it and just forget that we're writing with God and we're just being a vessel and an instrument. So I really tapped into that feeling and into that thought process during the writing of that song.
So the next track is The One Out the Friend Zone.
Yeah. So I actually produced that, I think, for Reach 2022, I think, playlist originally. And I don't think it worked out. And so I was like, you know what? I like the song. I'm going to keep it. I think I originally had Tommy on it. I love Tommy. He's such an easy hang. And then I had Juice Bangers kind of punch up some of the production. But yeah, some of these songs like just came naturally and we kept them. Like I feel like I have like 500 songs on my laptop, just stuff like this that's just in there. And I love making music. So it's like something that we both love. Me and Fern both love making music. We have a ton of songs that even aren't released and stuff like that. And so this is one of those songs that wasn't released, but it just has a really soft spot in my heart. I don't know. I think when I was listening to the whole album and I was like, all right, there's like a lot of hip hop, like there's always some piece of me that wants to balance the album out with something that's maybe a little softer or a little bit more pop.
Yeah.
So that was that song. And I wrote that. I had Zach help me write some bars on it and Tommy Prophet. And Juice Bangers helped punch up the production. I like that song. It's fun. And it's almost like a part two to Luau from the last album, where it's like guitar led and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, hey, and it fits on the record, right? So might as well stack it.
I think that most artists, an issue with most music that I listen to nowadays. And now, before I used to think it was maybe something like held us back, but I think it's actually one of the most important parts of Social Club and Marty and Fern is like, we bring a wide array of diversity in everything we do. And, most artists are like, all right, let's just do hip hop. And so you listen to like certain albums and it's like, all right, it's the same thing over and over. It's melodic or it's going to be, and I think that one of the things we do is we bend genres. We always are combining different sounds. So it's like, you're going to get pop, you're going to get CCM, you're going to get real hip hop, you're going to get, everything is going to just kind of create a full album, full spectrum album. And so I feel like this album has that tone to it where it's like, all right, you don't like this song, we got another idea. We have another idea. And so I think that that's our calling card is like, we are known to make music that is always going to cross and genre bend.
The next track, which I don't think I've ever heard a feature where Tori Deshawn hasn't destroyed everything.
Yeah.
Is Rendezvous.
Yeah. He's special. That song was produced by Isaiah Leroy, a new producer that I love. He's a new guy out of Philly. He's incredible. And then Ben Lopez, one of my best friends, and we produced everything together. And he produced that song. And I remember we were working on this song and I was like, I want to make the hardest song. I want this song to be like the hardest thing ever. And so as we were producing it, it just kept getting better and better. And then me and Ben, we always kept throwing this phrase, we're like, bust out the roof, bust out the roof, bust out the roof. And so I hit up Tori and Tori was like, oh my gosh, I want to get into the song. I love it. And so me and him, I think we FaceTimed and he was like, I got an idea. I'm going to freestyle some stuff. He had his wife who's whistling in the back of the song. That's his wife going, and he was like, I got an idea, bust out the roof. I'm going to go meet God. It's a rendezvous. Is that cool? He's like, can we just keep it? And I was like, that's perfect. He actually did like a 16-bar chorus and we cut those two lines and repeated repeated it a couple times. And so he's just so talented. I love working with him. And that song came very smooth. Fern, one of Fern's like best verses, I think, on the album. It just is like, it's not even 16 bars. It's like 24 bars. And yeah, it's a really fun song. It's one of my favorite songs on the album.
Yes, is that energy on the chorus is crazy.
Yeah. We wanted to make something that was like in the veins of like Cops, in the veins of like, this is the song that when we perform it, people lose their freaking minds. And so that was kind of the idea behind this song. And we got it. So
got what you need.
Yes. Yeah. It's Got What You Need, produced by Sam Ash, me, Sajan, David Frank, and another artist. Actually, originally this song was, I heard this song in 2020 and I wanted to put it on Feared by Hell, but I just didn't feel like it fit on there. I don't know why I thought that, but I don't think I found the right producer at the time. Now that I found Sam, and he produced that song and he made it so good. That song was originally written for like Blackpink or like BTS. It was originally written for them, a part of their sessions. And they recorded, I guess, a lot of songs, and that song just didn't make it. And I was like, can I have it? And he was like, absolutely. So we just took the vocals off, reproduced it, threw the vocals on. Fern contacted Jordan Feliz, and it was like that. It was a very simple process for that song.
Fern, with all the plugs on here.
It's just those songs right there, man. They're like no-brainers, man. Especially Sam, he serves them up. Once they all Marty and them, they all get in the kitchen. But with them Sam Ash collabos, especially, they're like, Fern, you only got to do a 12. I'm like, what? It's insane how these songs they become so powerful, and to us it seems regular to us, but it's not regular, man. How we start to put these songs together, and it's been like 3 or 4, huge songs that we've been able to put together with Sam Ash. Some other, dope collabs. But yeah, man, every time we get with Sam Ash, he's always pushing you too, man. He'll push you. He's the gentle pusher, though. He's the encourager. He's going to be like, you know what, man? Like, I feel like you could go harder on this, Fern, or I need you to lay back more. Or I don't want you to rap here. I want you to sing here. But you know what I'm saying? You trust him because obviously he has a great reputation that supersedes him. But at the end of the day, like, he's just a great worker. He knows what he's talking about. He's not BSing you. And we've just been able to pull out some awesome, awesome songs with him. So I like that joint.
Now we have Welcome to the Club.
Yeah, Welcome to the Club, produced by Ray King and a new producer.
Hey, producer.
AVXP. Ray wrote the initial like humming, like he was like, welcome to the club. Like he kept throwing around this phrase, welcome to the club. So then I took it and I made the chorus what it was. And I even added some production elements to it. But AVXP, that dude's a freak of nature. He's a battle producer. And so me and him, we became friends over the pandemic. And I got connected by Ray Rock, who linked us together and was like, I found this guy. I met him in New York, I think. And he's like, you got to work with him. And so Ray King got that sample, had the idea on the chorus. I beefed it up a little bit. And that song, and then at the end, I was like, I want to add something that's like a little bit more like, I don't know, like reggaeton. Like every time I view a song, I'm like, all right, how do we take this up another notch? And so for that song at the end, we added the reggaeton part, and that's an alley-oop to Fern. Fern knocked that out the park like instantly. And so those types of songs are just fun. Like a lot of these songs, I think for artists, the hardest part, and this is like, I think where my job makes it easy is when I hear a song, I immediately know where I want to take it. I know where I want to go. And so like I have a vision. As soon as I hear a beat, I get the vision for where it should go. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does, but I always want to try it because you just never know. Sometimes explaining an idea is like, oh, okay. And then you do the idea and you're like, oh, I see where you're trying to go with this. And so for that song, I saw the vision. I knew exactly what I wanted on that song. And so yeah, it's a good song. I feel like people are like really loving. That's the one that I didn't expect everyone to like just gravitate toward. I knew it'd be good, but that song, I'm looking at numbers, I'm seeing stuff, and I'm like, wow, people really love that song. So it's good to have a song like that. I feel like a lot of songs that me and Fern have, like we say certain things, And you either have to understand like the culture of Christian culture, or you have to like understand South Florida to get a lot of the funny bars that we have, or it just kind of goes over your head. So that's a fun song. And I'm excited that it worked out really well.
Yeah. Now, Fern, it's your track, Human.
Yeah, it was fun to bring it back to the basics, and just me and Marty have a solo track on the album. If you go back to previous projects, that was something we always did, So we brought it back to the essence. And, I had a couple ideas. Me and Pez had a couple ideas going back and forth. I had a couple producers sent me some ideas, but towards the end, I didn't really have anything that I was like gravitating to that I felt like really putting on the album. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that came across my desk that I was like, whatever. So I was talking to Marty about it, and he was like, yo, let me send you a couple of things. And he sent me that joint. And like, sometimes like as a writer, like sometimes you get songs and you already see the beginning and the end. You're like, let me just sit down and write it. It's already done. You get the vibe of the song, you like it, and you already foresee yourself writing it. So that's how I felt when I heard it. I was like, man, I can foresee myself killing this. Like, you know what I mean? Basically. And so it was just fun. I was like, man, I'm looking for it. And it came and it showed up right on time. So I was just thinking about, when I wrote it, I was just thinking about, current situations that I was going through, and if you notice when you listen to it, we all go through this sometimes where, you have friends and, you have to, it's a seasonal thing sometimes. Sometimes every 7 years, you kind of refresh your whole life, everything, friends and things of that nature. And sometimes, you ghost. And to me, it was just a ghosting thing. I just had to go ghost. I was just felt overwhelmed. At least that's how it was on my side of things. So I just went ghost, and some people were, collateral damage, and it wasn't on purpose, and it wasn't. So I feel like this was my ode to them, and I didn't do it technically, but if you do follow Social Club, like folklore, you would know that I usually, when I do a song by myself, I put like a song for like somebody, you know what I'm saying? And I should have put a like inside joke, but I should have put a song for, if you think it's for you, this is a song for you. Insert your name, basically. But that's all it was. It was almost like an open letter, open like apology for anybody that I may have ghosted through my own personal situation, and just being super transparent. Basically, like if maybe this is you, like you'll know exactly this was the apology you needed. This is the closure you needed as far as, when it came to writing it. That was really the thought process behind it. I thought it was just a good way for me to kind of like get some thoughts out there on the subject matter without having to text everybody, without having to get on the phone. Having said all that, little by little, you try to, rekindle relationships. You try to better yourself, try to keep growing every day, and try to get better at returning texts and picking up the phone and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But for the most part, that's really what that song is. It's all love. Shout out to everybody out there who's rocking with the music and really showing love. So, and shout out to Zach. I'm going crazy, but
Zach and Dave James.
Yeah, shout out to Zach and Dave James, man. I got on the phone with them and they were really instrumental. They were really like super consummate professionals, man. Just really got on it, got to the task at hand, knocking everything out. And even though at the same time, Zach was moving from where he was at, I believe ATL to California, and he was stopping at, wherever he was, hotels, and just to get the cheap Wi-Fi, just to be able to send a session, send the stem, staying up with timelines. And Dave James, just freaking legendary. So it was fun working with them and fun to get a record in with them. But shout out to Human. I like that record.
Nice. Born for This. Next track.
Yeah, born for this. I heard when we were working on Unstoppable, my buddy, I was talking to Sam Ash, because we always, what I do basically every day is I producers, people DM me, stuff like that. So I'm always trying to get on a session. I feel like if I'm on a session, you never know what happens. And so I got in a session with Sam. We were just talking about Unstoppable, and he played just the chorus of that, didn't have any production on it. And it was, and the original song. And I was like, oh, this is like great. What is that song? And he's like, honestly, man, we made this last summer and I just don't know what to do with it. And I was like, all right, let's cut this. Let's add drums to it. And we ended up making that song like from scratch, just built it around the chorus. And that song and then we hit up, when I was talking to Amanda, I'm like, what kind of features do you want to see? And she's like, a lot of times when people do these types of like big hook songs, it's always like a pop artist, right? It's like, you think about Me, Myself, and I, it has BB Rexa, the G-Eazy song, or like, that's the kind of like the model we try to follow is like, all right, good song, big chorus. And so then, like G-Eazy, his last song was with Halsey. It's like, you're always trying to find and I was like, I think all these pop people are great, but I'm like, what if we got somebody who has like a real voice, like somebody who could just knock this out the park in the gospel world? And so we have mutual friends with Evie. And so we hit up Evie and she was like, absolutely, no problem. Management made it happen. And Sajan, who is in Nashville, he helped produce the song as well. He recorded her vocals, recorded everyone's vocals, recorded Jordan Feliz, Ryan Ellis, who's on Unstoppable. And it was like a team effort and network. And so I'm trying to FaceTime. I think we're headed to a show and I'm in the hotel room and I'm trying to FaceTime to see how it's going. And it ended up working out really well. And so she is an incredible artist, incredible voice, incredible talent. She's from The Voice. We were going to go on tour with her at the end of the year. She's just incredible. And so shout out to Evie McKinney. And that song, again, was a no-brainer for me and Fern. We just, after production to me is the hardest part. You want to produce it. You want to make sure that landscape makes sense. And then, I feel like between me and Sam, we kept changing the drums a lot, but it ended up working out perfectly. So born for this.
All right, dope. Now we got Sunday Service.
Produced this song with Ben Lopez. This song and Don't Leave, I'm Sorry, we wanted to release as like a teaser in May, because that's kind of like we finished the album by June, but we wanted to finish. It was like May, like came around. We're like, why don't just release 2 songs? And management was like, you could, but we can also like figure out and keep working on more music. And I'm happy that we made that because Rendezvous, Who That Is, all these songs started evolving after we made these songs. But this song, I literally freestyled the entire song. You can hear my chair in the back. Like usually what I do when I hear a song is I'll freestyle something and then I'll take it back and record it a little bit more professional so you don't hear stuff. But this song, I love the feeling of it. And so, Fern obviously was the alley-oop, killed it. And this song was one of the first 3 that we worked on. It was like, I Can't Fail This, and Don't Leave, I'm Sorry. And Ben Lopez killed it. And it was kind of like, originally, I think when I worked on the song, we were pitching it to Rod Wave for his album through somebody that I knew. And I was like, I kind of want to keep it. And so that was just kind of happened like that.
Does that cover Don't Leave, I'm Sorry too? Or do you have a little more?
Don't Leave, I'm Sorry. I produced it with my buddy Gabe, a young Jordan who's on it. That song, easy. It's like one of those songs that you just like. What I like to do for me is like, I like to build off the momentum of whatever we create. So if I start with the beat, I have to finish it that half an hour that I started it. And then from there, I sit with it, see if I like it, and we send it to Fern, and we figure it out. But for the most part, like a lot of these songs, just like the momentum of it was really, really quick. Nothing took a long time. Everything was like in the week of creating it was the week it was finished. And so, another one of those songs is just fun. That's like classic Social Club. And I teased that song, I feel like months ago, months, the first song I ever teased. But yeah, Don't Leave, I'm Sorry. And that's a good song. And yeah, produced that one too. I produced about 9 songs or 8 songs on the record on this entire album. It's been fun. Like being a producer has allowed me it strengthened me as an artist, strengthened me as a singer, as a rapper. And it's fun. It's fun to create, it's fun. I feel like if I don't create one thing a day, I'm like not doing well. And so that's something that I always feel like you have to create, like that's what God's called me to do. So how can I continue, the momentum of this? So even now, this week I made 5 songs. We made a song for last week for Michael's album Bodega, which is incredible. We got like a bunch of, I worked on a couple ghostwriting songs and then a couple songs with a couple of my friends. So, if the energy's right and you're in it, it's very easy.